So we're going to talk today about the Roster Bridge module, one of the most important tools that we've got really in growing our company. Now again, this is a tool. This video is here for you to understand the language. This is going to be a critical one that we really understand some very and introduce some very important concepts. Remember, you've got this video, you've got the PowerPoint animation slides, you've got the outlines. Use the tools that you have. This isn't just about learning what to say. This is about the thinking behind it. Right? All of these are designed to be insert here conversations. You might take a little portion out, put it into a different conversation, but it's the same gist. Right? This is what we want to be able to build, and this is one that spend the time to really understand how we do this. This is when we're talking to our newer associates, we're starting to introduce the concepts of how all of this comes together. Remember, our job is to build this distribution company. We've got Primerica doing their job. We got the back office doing theirs. We get to grow our distribution company and utilize the tools that we've got. So one of the most important concepts that we've got is this concept of advances are permanent. Right? The idea of starting over every day and every success is success and failure is failure. No, guys, we got an opportunity to gather up experience. Right? We got an opportunity to get away from that validation of success model and really create indicators of growth. To realize that everything I do today, I got to lock in and build on tomorrow. So as we go through this, we're going to kind of make sure that you understand the language and how this works. Right? So we're going to start, how does our system work? How does our offense work? Well, one of the things we do is we use the word roster. Now, the roster is for our unlicensed people. These are people who have turned in their IBA, they're going through the licensing process, and their job is they're introduced, they're learning, and we really want to support them. We want them to realize that there's tools and techniques and opportunities there for them, and there's an entire support system built for them to accomplish what it is that they want, whether it's $500 a month, or help 2 or 3, 5 families a year, or an opportunity to get completely financially free from one side to the other. We have a support system for them. And we use a lot of sports analogies in this, a lot of sports lingo, because it allows us to have a reference point. Even if you're not a big sports fan, don't be scared of that. They're just words, but it allows us to kind of get our mindset as to what is that we're trying to get accomplished. When we have a new person that's going through this process, they're meeting people, they're learning new things, right? Really, one of the most vital things they can do is see this work. There's nothing more powerful than a new person going across the kitchen table or going across the coffee shop or having a guest come to an Oz night and have them start with their arms crossed and what is all this about and a lot of doubt, maybe some skepticism. And by the time we tell our story and we lock them in as an ally, now all of a sudden they're saying things like, man, everyone needs this. No one does this. Man, I wish I would have heard this a long time ago. Why didn't someone else? Why doesn't everyone do this? And as that happens and we lock those advances in, that gets locked into their brain. The ability to see it work is a critical part. Right? This access gap. We want to close this access gap. Right? Main Street families have been abandoned. Right? The ability to tell that story and realize that it's not just theory, but it's showing up in our neighbor's house, in our friend's house, in our parents' house, in our co-worker's house. Right? That, a lot of times we can't go to the banks or the insurance companies or lenders because, they've created interest-only loans and CDs at 1% and cash value life insurance, and they've literally created products designed to keep Main Street families locked there. So he said, one is we're going to introduce these concepts, but we're going to go through and realize that there's opportunities out there that we can drive that confidence, because once we understand why we do what we do and how we do it and what we do, that consistency can start to grow confidence. And it's something that can never be taken. When you help your first family, or you recruit your first advocate or associate, and someone joins your team, or someone gives you a recommendation, or someone says, man, what you're doing is big, no one can ever take that away from you. And we get to build on that. So as a roster, we want you to see it work. It's also about getting your licenses. We are on a mission, and we need licensed people to really be able to do this. We can't pay you for money you're not, or for things you're not licensed for. We got to get people through this process. Now, the great thing is that these advances are permanent. Now, I know a lot of people haven't gone to school in a week or a month or a year or a decade or 2 or 5 or whatever it is. Well, you know what? When you knock the school out, you never have to do it again. And when you study, you never have to do that again. And when you pass a test, you never have to do that again. And you get to maintain these licenses. Your process on the roster is to see this thing work, and have the ability to play. Get all your licenses, guys. I'm telling you, right? We've got infrastructures and systems in place to make sure that you're profitable all the way through, right? Everything kind of goes back to this baseball diamond. If you remember our position training guide, right? First base is see it work. Second base is the ability to play. Those advances are locked in. Those are the number one priorities that you're focused on. Now what happens is you're going to pass your test, you become a player. Now our goal is for you to be a district. The number one goal is for everyone to become a district leader by the time you're licensed. Does it happen all the time? No. But you know what? That can be our goal. That can be in our intent, and we got a game plan for it. And if you buy in and you go after this thing, we got a much better shot of accomplishing it. And if it didn't happen, that's okay. We're just going to gather it up and attack the next round. Right, because as a player, when you go see it work, what's going to happen is you're confident in the conversations. You're going to start learning how this stuff works. The more often you hear, right, the roster module, the clearer it's going to be. The more you come to Saturday, the more the modules that you see broken down, you're going to start understanding this access gap, and you're going to understand the access story, and you're going to understand the strategic partnership. And as those things get locked into you, you own them. And the goal is that it's not just words that you're learning, but you understand the concepts, the reasons why, the thinking behind it, to where you have the tools, right? We've got built-in workflows inside the SSD to be able to take them one day at a time, for you to be able to get clear, for you to understand in a digestible way how this works, right? We didn't get into our situation overnight, and guess what? We're not getting out of it overnight, but we can accumulate assets. Right? Why? Because we can learn this access gap story. We can get the access of financial freedom story. We can build allies, advocates, and associates. We know the conversations, guys, that we want to master, and we got a game plan to help you do it. As a player, we're going to instruct you step by step, right? And then it's, as we see it work, we're going to be developing our market. If you look back, well, that's why the roster is so important, is as you see it work, seeing it work is going to get you introduced to the conversations, and it's going to start to help you develop your market. They all work together. Why? Because your support system is in your market long term, and you're going to see that is the fundamental building block of our company, right? Primerica takes care of their job in the financial services. The back office takes care of their job, which is the distribution support. We're going to grow our support system, and our support system is allies, advocates, and associates. Our allies, they're built to be support through our training process, through seeing it work, right? We want to build that online presence. We want 4 to 6 Yelp reviews. We want folks in your market say, man, this guy changed my life, made an impact. Because what we're going to be able to do is bring the tools of the wealthy to Main Street families, the access to the education, access to the tools that create wealth. We're going to build the advocates, right? Why? Because they're going to be involved. That's our strategic partnerships. Those are that feeder system that we're going to go through. And then we're going to recruit to associates. Man, our goal, we said, is our goal is to get you to district leader. If we go tell this story 8, 10, 12, 15 times, and Main Street families have been abandoned, there's a really good chance that there's a lot of folks laying in bed going, man, I want to do something different. Now, they might not want to get completely and totally financially free, but how many folks could use an extra $500 a month, an extra $1,000 a month? The ability in the next 12 months to have their income grow a couple $1,000s. Now, some of them might go, man, this is my shot. This is what I'm looking for. And there's a place for everybody. Whether the people in our market are allies, they're advocates, or associates, there's a place for everybody. See, advances are permanent. We don't need someone to be anything other than where they are, because we can walk them through, and the clearer they get, the more emotionally invested that they can become. See, we're going to go. Third base is know the stories. Fourth base, home plate is to develop your market. Now, in the process, we're talking about 8 or 10. But what happens is you develop this skill as a player, and you start developing 10, 20, 50, 100, 200, 500 people in your corner. Now, imagine it's 2 years from now, 3 years from now. You've seen it work. You've got all your licenses. You're confident in all the conversations. And you've got 100 or 200 or 500 people in your market that all understand and support what you're doing. You think you could be successful? See, those are the key pieces to what we're going to do, and that transition us to our starters. These are team builders, right? Their job is to move their roster to players and their players to starters. It's about literally teaching people how to take the steps you've already taken. Right? One of the things I love about this company is it's never asking you to do something someone else isn't willing to do. But we've got a step-by-step game plan on how to do it. This isn't take a bunch of people and throw it against the wall. This is about you and me going, okay, our roster, we're going to see it work, and we're going to get our licenses. The players, we're going to get confident in these conversations, and we're going to develop our market. We're going to build towards this. Our starters, we're going to start to really build a team. And then our captains, your job as a captain is to build your roster, build your players, build your starters, and build more captains. That's how you're going to get to regional vice president. A captain's got people all the way through the process. Well, here's what I know. If you do it once, you might think you got lucky. You do it a second time, you're like, okay. By the time you've done it a third time, you at least know you did it on purpose. By the time you've done it a fourth time, you can start to own it. Well, that's all our business is. Recruit 3 people to get to district, 3 people to division, 3 people to the regional leader, and 3 people to vice president. By the time you've done that, you've started to build your team, and you've got people running through the system, you have a legitimate opportunity to be ready to be a regional vice president. See, we want you to understand there's a place for everyone. There's a step-by-step game plan broken down for everyone here. Now here's the thing. We understand that we've got this access gap. Right? We understand that Main Street Family has been abandoned and that our job is to close this gap. And we've got amazing key partnerships and game plans and all that stuff. But the question is, do you think that most Main Street families think they need help? Most of them, in my experience, no. Why? Because if we thought we need help, we'd go get it. But if we don't think we have access, we don't know how to do it, we don't know there's a problem, nothing changes. Now here's the question. Do they actually need help? Yes. So there's a really big gap there going, how do we bridge that gap from that no to that yes? Right? We said, well, how does the people in our lives hear us? See, maybe we recruit new associates, right? And they come in, they're excited and fired up and see a vision and opportunity, and they might go to their mom or their sister or their next door neighbor or their cousin or their best friend and say, oh my God, I found this opportunity. It's unbelievable. Change your life, finances, woo! The challenge is, most of our people in our market, in our lives, most of our, specifically our top 10, they don't see us proficient in financial services. They might not even see us successful in business. They love us. That's not a question. But do they really going to listen to us when it comes to their money? A lot of times, no. Now me, or the person that's developing you, they might not know them at all. If they went and knocked on their door and said, hi, my name is, I'd like to, they're going to be like, no. But they're also licensed. They don't love them. See, the benefit, this system, we said, okay, we got these Main Street families. They love you, but they might not listen to you. They won't love me, but they might listen to me. How do we bring this together? How do we get all of us in a room so that they're willing to hear and listen to me, because they'll support you, but they won't listen to you, but they'll support me so that we can actually talk to them about this change. Because do they think they need help? No. Do they need help? Yes. So there's got to be a way to bridge that gap. So we built this roster bridge that says, you know what, we're going to work with our top 10 allies, advocates, and associates and build their assets. What we're going to do is we're going to put the top 10 most important people in our corner. We want them to understand, and we need their support. We don't need them to buy anything. We don't need them to join anything. What we want to do is we want them in your corner. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go tell our story, and we're going to explain to them why you're doing this, why you're passionate about it, what you see, what your vision is, what our vision is, why we feel Main Street families have been abandoned, how we leverage Primerica, how we provide access to the education, the tools. And guess what? In that story, a lot of them are going to go, man, everyone needs this and no one does it. Some are going to go, man, I need this. Can you help me? Some are going to go, man, my best friend needs to do something like this. And some are going to go, oh my, I've been looking for this my whole life. See, whether they're allies or they're advocates or they're associates, they're all assets in our business. That's what we want to be able to build. Through that process, though, after that, right, we want to develop our market. We've got our top 10, but we've also got the next round, and we call them our hot and our warm. These are friends, and then our lukewarm, the guy that you say hi to. Or what about the folks you haven't talked to in 3 months or 3 years? We're not going to call them up and go, hi, I'd like to. But what we did is said, man, if we could have a game plan to develop our market over the next 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years, we could develop a place for everybody. Man, we had a legitimate opportunity to turn that into an advocate system where we could have people understand and support what we're doing. And we don't got to be in a hurry, and we don't have to go in and sell them something. We don't have to go in and recruit them something. We can just let them understand we want to do something big, and there's an opportunity in front of us. So we said, man, we got to give an opportunity to develop that market. The problem is, sometimes that might take some time. So if you're brand new and we go like, okay, we can go through these top 10, but then we got to develop our market, what are we going to do, right? Because I don't know what to do. Well, we created something called the pool. And what that's designed to do is to help you grow your skill and your confidence, to create profit and coaching. Why? Because see, this opportunity is unbelievable, and there's a lot of people that are growing, and while you're developing your market, what happens if someone said, man, I got 2 appointments on Monday that I can't cover? Could you cover them? If you understood, if you were confident in the conversations, right, you had your licenses, you knew that you were in the process of developing your market, right, so you knew what to say, but you didn't have your market ready, could you cover those appointments? Now let's say, right, I say you get 50%, so 50% of $1,000 is better than 100% of 500 or of zero, right? Right, so as you go out and you go sit with those 2 families, guess what happens? Live practice. You get to go out and you get to tell this story to people that give you feedback. There's an opportunity for your skill to go up. You're going to realize that everybody is in this middle, and this story resonates with lots and lots of people, and your confidence goes up because people will listen to you because you're going to run the play and tell the stories. Obviously, it's an opportunity for profit to go in. So now all of a sudden, how much better do you feel? Right? If you go out and make $300, $400, $500, you're kind of fired up. And then it's coaching, because the person that you're covering the appointments for, guess what? They're emotionally invested in the outcome. So it's easy to get on the phone and go, okay, how'd this go? What happened? And break it down from a coaching clinic standpoint of, here, try this and do this, so that the next time you go out, you're that much better. Well, the pool gives you ground cover while you're developing your market, but it also then allows you to gather up those skills, gather up that confidence, gather up that coaching, and go back to your market and tell them the stories. Run a scouting report with them, right? Where you came from to where you're going. What growth have you gone through? What impact have you made? What opportunities in front of you? You run your scouting report on on the market that you're developing. Because of the benefits of this pool, you get to collapse some time frames. See, guys, at the end of the day, everything is about assets in your business. Assets, right? And allies and advocates, associates, actual passive income assets. The market development's an asset. Your skills are assets. Your confidence assets. Your profitabilities are assets. Your coaching is assets. This is about you never having to start over. This is about you being able to realize you might not be where you want to be, but you sure as heck aren't where you were. See, we're on a pretty big mission. You look at this strategic partnership, and we have incredibly high standards on Primerica. We believe that they should do what they say they're going to do, that their job is to provide amazing resources and tools for Main Street families, the education and the tools to help them have a legitimate shot to create wealth. We have a really high standard on the expectations and the experiences of the back office as, man, they got unbelievable resources and tools. Well, you know what? If we gather up our market, we gather up our skills, and we run through this process, we can start to build our game too. This isn't about us being smaller. This is about us being able to say, man, I want to do something bigger. And maybe you want to make $500 a month, fantastic. Learn this stuff, run through the process, right? See this thing work. Get your licenses, get confident in these conversations, and start to develop your market. And if you get into the pool and all of a sudden your RVP or one of the developers says, hey, I got a couple appointments, if you're ready and you go, that's an opportunity for you to grow your skills and your confidence and your profitability and your coaching. And maybe that's all you do. Long term, maybe all you do is help 2-3 families a month and make $200, $300, $400, $500 a month. Build your managed account assets and start to grow. Fantastic. Maybe you start out believing that you can make $500 a month, but you help 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 families in the pool, and all of a sudden you start telling your scouting report to your market. And they're like, wow, this is starting to work, and your confidence goes up, and your skills going up, and your vision goes up, and now there's a shot. And then all of a sudden you go, man, I'm out of the pool because I'm starting to develop my folks, and now we recruit some associates for you, and we get them in the pool, and you start to grow a company. See, we wanted to put together a game plan where advances are permanent. You're never starting over. We got strategic partnerships here for you to be able to deliver on the promises that you made to yourself. We started this by saying if you found something that was real, that was credible, that was in alignment, right? That you could make an impact, that you could accomplish what your wants were, well, that's what we've built. Man, we have a big calling. Main Street Family's been abandoned, guys. We need a bunch of people passionate about it. You and me, we got 24 hours in a day each. We can help 2 or 3 families. But what if we had 20 or 30 or 50 or 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 or 100,000 people, 1 million people in our organization, in our company, go, man, here's an opportunity to increase my skills, to grow my confidence, to create more profit, to get coaching while I develop my market. I don't have to do this alone. Guys, we got an opportunity to do something real, and it starts now. Like all others, this presentation reflects the opinions of the speaker, not of Primerica. And again, this really is about the internal training. This is about us being able to tell our story and get familiar with our language. We've got the resources. We've got the tools. We put in the time, guys. We got a legitimate shot to do something. We're starting to grow. We're starting to get this under our belt. Put in the time. Use these resources. Great things are coming. I'll talk to you soon.